Hey, I'm Jack, and I'd like to talk about the difference between right and wrong, if there even is any. And the reason is the conversations that I've been having with people, they've been geared more toward right and wrong. Some of them just go right for it. Um, like the energy just pulls toward that particular topic, and some people are just like, do you really believe there's no such thing as right and wrong? And I'll say, yeah, sure. Um, there doesn't have to be, but obviously there is because that's what we're talking about. So it's just hard for people to see that because we want to believe that there is something that's right and wrong, but that's exactly it. Is that it was neutral before we put that charge on it and created a right and wrong feeling. So that's what I tell them, but they see it as there's already a pre-programmed right and wrong answer. Um, but then I'm saying it a little differently. I'm saying it's neutral, almost non-existent, until we perceive that, let's say, that action or that behavior or choice. And so I had a conversation last night. I went out to a barbecue party and met some people and um, had some laughs, and then also had some pretty intimate conversations. I mean, not anything too long, but they're just telling me more than I guess I expected. Um, and it's between a person and their family, and that's actually where I got this sweatshirt. So thank you for lending this to me. Um, it's this lovely lady that was at the party, and she was just visiting for the weekend to see her family, and she lives hours and hours and hours away, so she had to just fly in for the weekend. But that's the topic that I want to talk about is the dynamic between the family, because I got to talk with each one of them individually. It's not like I set it up or anything. It just happened to turn out that way. But basically, there's a conflict between mom, dad, and the sister, and then there's this oddball sister, and she just does her own thing. And so the mom, dad, and the sister that lives far away that gave me this sweatshirt, they all really value family. I mean, notice how she openly gave me this sweatshirt, and then she left this morning. So there's no way I could give it back to her, personally at least. So yeah, she just really cares about that aspect, and she actually opened up and talked about that, and I really felt how much she cares because she complains that this oddball sister doesn't actually give the same sort of attention and consideration to the family as they wanted. So she was here for the weekend and she asked to hang out with her sister. Her sister actually made plans. The oddball sister made plans with some other friends, and they were just watching a movie, and that was it. And so the big sister, she was frustrated in that. She's like, "Why couldn't she just hang out?" And it's not that difficult. And so she actually had to knock on the door and open the door into her bedroom, into her sister's bedroom with her friend, and ask if she could watch the movie with them. That's how much she wanted to be with her. And she's like, and I took this time out. I took off work, and I also paid for the flight and came out here just for your graduation, and you're not really spending the same sort of time. And her parents feel the same way. But then I talked with that oddball sister, and sorry if it seems offensive if I'm saying she's an oddball sister, um, but yeah, she told me about her situation and her complaints with her family. And it's actually the opposite. She's hurting. She actually went through some stuff that she opened up and shared, pretty intimate stuff, and pretty hurtful stuff. And I don't think that's something that her family is considering. I don't even know if they know. and so she is going through pain, internal pain, which is what leads her to do what she does. Maybe isolation from the family because the family doesn't quite see it the same way. Maybe doesn't understand how that's painful. And so then they're just like, is it really that difficult for you to spend time with us? Why do you have to go be by yourself and do your own thing and rebel against us? Maybe do drugs, go hang out late at night, don't even come home or tell us where you're going. You know, all these things that make parents worry and family worry. But she's going through that pain that the family doesn't quite understand. Yet they both feel like they're right, like it's the right thing to do, because that's why they're doing it. So, you know, the mom, the dad, big sister are all trying to make time for little sister, and she doesn't quite give them the same sort of respect and pay it back in some ways. And so she doesn't feel like she needs to, though, because they're not listening to her. So she looks at her family as not paying attention, not giving her what she feels like she needs, which is probably someone to just open up to and really just be able to talk about it and say, I'm sorry that you went through that. She just wants someone to hug, in that way at least. But the rest of the family doesn't see it that way yet. Like I said, they both see it as being right. So there's no such thing as right and wrong until we put our particular feeling on it, because there were two options from both sides of this argument. From the rest of the family side, they could have chosen one of two things, and so they picked one. Sorry. So they picked one rather than the other. And then the same with the little sister. Two options, and she picked one the way she went about it when she had two. So those two things make a relationship based on whatever it is that they're arguing over, and it's spinning around and round and round until they finally see both sides, and then it evens out. See, we're equal now. It's not lopsided, and that lopsidedness is what creates spin dynamics. So it's not really right. It is right from our perspective, but it can also be wrong from another perspective. That's the main point. Don't want to drag this out too much longer. So we can actually apply that same thing to just about any relationship and any conflict. And it doesn't have to be negative conflict either. I know it may sound weird because we usually look at conflict as being negative and bad and all that. Yeah, there's some sad, angry, frustrating arguments or conflicts, but they're also the positive ones. You know, doesn't have to be all ashes and flames and stuff like that. But we can look at that outline that there is no such thing as right or wrong. It's neutral until we move into that space of now it's right because I want to see it that way, or it's wrong because I want to see it that way. So we pick, and that's that weeble wobble, because someone else is doing the same within that relationship. So yes, that's my little 2 cents, and it just happened last night, and I've been having these conversations, and I mean they were about other things too. Like, you can go as big as you want. You can go into religion with this. It doesn't have to be a family experience. It could be a religious experience, you know, of what is right and wrong, and you can go, like I said, you can go as far up or down as you want, big or small, whatever scope of life. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be dynamics, and what are those dynamics? Like, what are they fighting over, and why do they both see it a different way, yet they both feel like they're right, and the other is wrong. You know, it's the whole pointing finger at someone. You got 3 pointing right back, 2 forward, 3 back. So yeah, I hope you can use something from this, and as always, thank you. So enjoy the rest of the night, or I will.